day 22 of the government shutdown, officially the second longest running shutdown in history. It has dragged on for so long, the continuing resolution at the center of negotiations may become obsolete.
Washington correspondent Drew Petrimo joins us with details. Drew, we just had Indiana Congresswoman Erin Houchin on. What did you make of what she had to say from a Republican standpoint about maybe there not being so much pressure on the government shutdown and wanting to get the government reopened, at least from the GOP side of things?
Yeah, and I think it actually kind of reinforces some polling that we've seen over the last couple of days that says really the majority of Americans, the biggest group of Americans, saying they're not being affected at all by the shutdown. I've even seen that in my life, talking to people that aren't involved in politics that don't have a great grasp on whether or not we're still in a shutdown or not. We've heard politicians talk about back home in the district, people don't think there's a shutdown going on. So I think while, maybe here in Washington, we're hyper-focused on politics, the DMV area, because there's so many federal workers here, and then the prospects of them being furloughed and possibly laid off, we feel it very strongly here. But when you talk about going back to districts in Indiana or in other states, it's not something that is being talked about at every kitchen table. And I think that's why the parties are still kind of both in their corners.
So people could start to feel it more very quickly. The people who get SNAP benefits, who get WIC benefits, Head Start could be impacted. Here's what Hakeem Schumer has to say about that kind of pain.
We have a very simple request. Sit down and negotiate. The American people are aghast. Any observer, objective observer, is aghast that here on this serious problem, they won't even negotiate with us.
They were dining on taxpayer dollars at the White House when they just enacted the largest cut to nutritional assistance in American history. They literally, Republicans, ripped food out of the mouths of children.
See, Hakeem Schumer, both of them back to back. There you go.
Yeah, we're talking about what are the potential pressure points that as they build, and they're talking about, you have SNAP benefits that the Department of Agriculture is saying that may not be fully funded. Talk about these WIC benefits while there's been a temporary fix where they're kind of taking money from one program and putting other paying military families right now. October 30th is the first day where there's going to be a large number of government workers that will fully miss a paycheck. I think the last paycheck was like a partial paycheck. There were some missed days, but this is a full paycheck. So that's going to be another pressure point. November 1st, open enrollment for the Affordable Care Act marketplace, when people could go on and realize, hey, the cost of my insurance plan went way up. So there's some potential pressure points building, but right now I think the level of pressure on both sides is really coming from their base of the party. Really both parties is telling them to stand up. And kind of what you have here is where Republicans are kind of like, Democrats just won't come to the table and pass this continuing resolution. There's nothing too controversial about it. Whereas you have the Democratic base, saying that the Trump administration is taking so many steps that are out of line with what we believe is appropriate in a democratic society, and we want our members to fight. So it's almost like, I heard somebody else describe it this morning as a general strike by Democrats protesting the Trump administration. And so they've staked their claim over this healthcare issue, but really it's much broader than that.
So here is the state of play as the sun comes up on this Wednesday. We know the Senate's going to vote on that CR yet again today. They're also expected to vote on Wisconsin Senator Ron Johnson's bill to pay anyone who is currently working but not getting paid. There's a Democratic counter bill to that as well that may or may not be voted on. But we're still looking for the off-ramp, the glimmers of hope that you keep telling us to look for every single day. Man, we're looking.
Yeah, because the CR is going to fail again today. Both those Democratic and Republican proposals to pay certain federal workers are also going to fail, and we'll be back to square one. And look, the Senate's going to leave on Thursday. The president is going to Asia for a week on Friday. Democrats say they want to meet with him before that happens. The president says he's not going to do it. So again, we used to try to squint in the beginning of this. See, my eyes are going to be completely shut. You have to squint so hard to see an off-ramp on this. And I think we just have to wait till we get to these pressure points and see how the public starts reacting.
And while most of the country may not feel impacted by this, we're watching food lines grow here in the DMV. So it's a much different story if people live around here.
For some people, this is existential. I mean, you're talking about not having paychecks, not making rent, not being able to buy food. But for large portions of the American people, it's just like, what's happening in Washington?
Right.
Well, look, pressure bursts pipes. If we get to the holiday travel season and this thing is still going on, I think that is when things just really start to boil over because everybody travels for the holidays.
Thanksgiving will be
Did
a
it last
disaster if they don't have
I am not trying to drive to Texas for Thanksgiving. Drew, thank you so much. We'll see you next hour.